Yeah, something like that.
Hi, let me get my casting voice on
Ooh,
now.
yeah.
Hello. How's it going?
Welcome into the stream. Oh, that was terrible. Just gonna hardware mute myself.
Ugh.
There we go. Ah, there we go. Perfect.
Test scream.
We throw it up there. They currently doing CCA casting workshop. Notifications are off. You sub or follow me? I don't know. Yeehaw. Okay.
Gee.
Well, casting workshop day, star date today. Yeah, like I said, I'm behind on life, just due in part to being onboarded for that.
Day 405. I haven't eaten in weeks.
The amount of work that goes into verifying the collegiate eligibility for CCA Fortnite is absolutely mental. Having seen what everyone is going through from the inside, I'm like, oh, I'm not even sure I should say that right now, but my goodness, it is insane the amount of work that they are putting in. So I'm happy to be a part of the team. It's another step up towards total E-Fuse domination. No, not really. But I'm happy to continue. I'm happy to continue being more and more involved. So thank you all for being here, one, and then I appreciate your forgiveness for being a little bit haphazard in everything that I'm doing today. It literally has been piecing together my brain. So FBI Tugboat. I imagine, does everyone here know FBI Tugboat?
Yes.
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 I don't. Fizzy, have you met him before?
Not personally, but
Not
I'm aware
personally.
of its existence.
Okay, aware of the existence. That's good. That's good. One of the things I know with some of you not being able to be here the entire time and missing, are there questions that you'd like to ask right off the bat for Tugboat? And I'll try to relay those. That way we can get them in the recording.
I mean, one of the biggest things I kind of came across, like applying for like LAN positions, because that's what the primary topic was about, is you know, getting kind of denied for those and just like not knowing why is like the biggest thing. So I mean, I came here to kind of get the information as to like maybe I was doing something wrong on my end. So it's not really a question, but I guess a statement, you know?
Yeah, I can understand that, like what goes into the thinking, and I think that's something that we're going to be able to cover quite a bit today, because Tugboat has one of the most ridiculous resumes I have ever seen in my life. Just the sheer amount of stuff, and then it's not exactly a resume the way you would think. Like, bro just literally documents every single live event he's ever been able to do, but the way that he formats his resume is something that I've found to be extremely interesting. So that'll be something we'll go into and fully divulge. If you want to look at his resume, you can hit up his Twitter, FBI_Tugboat, and there's a Linktree link. And that's another thing that we're going to be talking about. Some important industry tools like LinkedIn, like Linktree. Tugboat uses Fiverr as well for freelance marketplace. There's tons of things, and the one thing I think Tugboat does better than a lot of us is diversifying methods in which that corporations and productions can pull his name. And he does it in a traditional sense. So LinkedIn, not all of us in the commentary community are thinking, oh yeah, I need to have a LinkedIn. Not all of us in the commentary community think, oh yeah, having a Fiverr, being able to freelance. Fiverr, to my understanding, I don't have, and I'm going to be curious to learn a little bit about some of the Fiverr options. But just imagine what Indie Gaming League was doing with Beyond Ranked, only on a more national scale, like a national corporation in Fiverr.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know there's a couple of people I know caster wise that use LinkedIn, and I was just thinking about like, hey, maybe I should set one up. You know, kind of add like a little resume there as well. So I mean, to hear you guys kind of talking about it almost makes me feel like, yeah, I should do that. You know?
Yeah, it's gonna be something that I get into as well. One of the most recent unified LANs that I did, I ended up talking to. It was at Illinois College, and we had a panel for careers in esports, and every single one of them going down the line talked about LinkedIn. So it was a topic that, as I was preparing for today, I mentally I want to plug LinkedIn as much as I possibly can. It's something that I need to get in on, but I'm learning that the collegiate spectrum specifically, you're finding that a lot of the college admins, the esports directors, esports coaches, you know, your coach E from Northwood, everybody who is behind the scenes at some of these colleges are already on LinkedIn, and that's how they connect with each other.
Yeah.
More often than Discord, more often than Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to get in touch, and it's a prevailing way to get in touch.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of my friends who, like I said, who had it, and they met like some high level professionals, like from the Minnesota Vikings on there, as far as like, you know, that goes, and they were talking to them quite a bit as far as for casting and stuff like that goes. So I mean, I kind of wanted to. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do that as well, was because I wanted to start like to branch out and diversify, and you know, hopefully one day be a sports announcer, because that'll be pretty cool, you know. But at the same time, I love Rocket League.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's just honestly, it's just, it leads to more opportunities. It really, really does.
And one of the things that I've always embraced, my motto over the last 6 months as I've been doing this, is diversify yourself as much as you possibly can. And learning just how huge LinkedIn was at this most recent LAN that I did. Because I'll be honest, I've never had a LinkedIn profile. It's something that it's still on my list of things to do. Being that I got back a week ago, I've been working on car stuff, trying to make sure I'm ready for the next LAN. Got to make sure the car is drivable to get to there. Otherwise, we're choking ourselves off of what we're already making.
Well, let me ask you something. I want to take you off of the path real quick. You said Illinois College.
Yes.
I see. Was that in Jacksonville?
Yes.
Because I went to school in Jacksonville, and I went to the opposite school, the McMurray College, that's in the same town.
Oh.
So that's where I went. So you said Illinois College. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Of course, you're not there anymore, are you?
No, actually, Mac shut down. So.
No, I mean, are you still in Illinois?
Jacksonville? Yeah. I live in Illinois, yeah.
You live in Illinois?
Yeah, I don't live by Jacksonville anymore, though.
Okay. Oof. There was an opportunity there. I
was gonna say, you want me to drive over and meet you?
Next time, yeah.
Breakfast. All right, breakfast.
Next time it happens, I'm gonna be on the phone. I'll be on the horn with you.
All right, sounds good.
I'll pick you up instead.
I'll
have the car.
No, I promise you, because I'm way out of your way. I would love for you to come over and pick me up, but I'm way out of your way.
It was more of a play on words. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Play on terms. There you go.
Took me a while, but I got it now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Anybody else have any questions that they wanted to ask, just in case you're not here when Tugboat comes around? We'll see if I can pull them maybe a little bit sooner. But
I can't think of anything like
specific on that front. I think it's just mostly like continuing to push contacts in a way that doesn't feel like you're nagging them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I've asked him about this before, and it was just sort of like reaching out and being like positive and not expecting anything is probably like your best bet, but it still feels weird at times with just the nature of like cold DMing, and like if you don't get a response from a cold DM, but it's someone that you know or something like that, like how do you continue to try and develop that relationship?
I actually think that's a really good question, and I would love to hear his opinion on it, because especially with and I'm not saying this to like down psionics, but you think of a group like psionics where communication has never been the forte. You can send multiple emails and not get a response, and the fact is it can get buried and they never actually get back to you. So there is I can see where having to DM or email, try to reach out multiple times would be a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. And they would look back at it, oh, I missed this, sorry. But there is also, this person's annoying, I hope they go away. Where's the block feature? I'm actually very interested to know where FBI Tugboat would.
Yeah, because like I have one time I reached out to someone, and then it's like I send them a message, and then they added me like as a friend, but then didn't respond to the message, and I was just like, what is going on? What is going on here?
So for me, I know I can kind of not answer that question necessarily, but one of my experiences recently, I was asking for feedback on a cast that I did, or it wasn't even a cast, it was just some work that I did. And I respect the person who I was asking. So I sent them a DM afterwards, and I said, hey, I would like some feedback. Any feedback is welcome, good, bad, whatever. I'm coachable is what I always tell everybody. Is there any way you can, give me that feedback? And they responded, yeah, I could definitely do that for you. I'm like, okay, cool. Whenever it's convenient for you. I waited a few days. They still didn't reply back. And I sent them a friendly reminder. I said, hey, just so you know, I'm still waiting for that reply. Just whenever you get a chance, I know you're a busy person, things like that. And they're like, oh man, I totally forgot about this. But since you bumped it up to the top of like my DMs, I remember now. I was like, okay, cool. They can get back to me later. So I think a couple of days like elapsed again, and they still never got back to me. And I was like, okay, I'm not trying to be pushy or whatever, but I just, I'm just gonna send out this last one. It's just a friendly reminder, I sent like pretty much just a friendly reminder, GIF at that point.
Yeah. And
they replied back and gave me like a whole paragraph of stuff, and it was just like, would love to work with you again. I was like, dope, thank you. This is what I was expecting. Here's a little bit of criticism that I had, the things that we can kind of do better or whatever the next time we work together. And that was that, so I feel like if you kind of approach it that way, I mean, Kendo, maybe you have more insight, better insights with that, but that was my experience.
I think there's no issue in trying to get in touch, because a lot of the time I think people genuinely are either too busy or they fall behind. For me personally, I try to put communication as a high standout point of the things that I do, just because when I think Rocket League, a lot of people, the thought process has always been, well, I'm not going to get in touch with this person because it never happens anyway. So there'll be times where, yeah, I get DM'd 3 days after I miss something, and I appreciate when people do that personally. I don't mind the extra DM, the extra little tap. The ones that I feel the most bad for is once a month I try to clean out my DMs and go back through and make sure I didn't miss anything. It's when that once a month comes around and I re-catch something that I had missed, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you
You've done it to me
so
before.
much for your patience. Dang it. And it's like, most of the time, I am pretty stinking responsive. And yeah, I know for sure I've done it to Oops at least
I think
once.
at least twice you've done, you've
Oh,
done it to me.
mercy. Oh, that's a feels bad. But
Is this like a session too? Because I need some help, guys.
confession station. Yeah. What can I say? I am the person that everyone finds mildly disappointing when it comes to timeliness.
You're too harsh on yourself, buddy.
Nah, I'm I don't know that I'm like destroying myself the same way that I would at one point in my life. Like, you get to a certain point where you're doing so much, and I think this goes along with what the esports industry is. Esports, you're wearing so many different hats, and a lot of people who are, maybe they're working in social media. They're also working in the graphics department. They're also working as the talent manager in a certain project at the same time. You're doing so many different things. And I've gotten to the point where I'm personally doing so many different things. I understand why sometimes people don't get back to me. I'm learning just how deep it is for some of the collegiate admins and the esports directors, because one of the next things I wanted to do with the podcast is bring on an esports director and talk to them about, hey, let's get a glimpse on what goes on behind the scenes. You've created an absolute monster in these. So I reached out to Kochi. I've reached out to Brogan from Akron. I've reached out to Columbia College. There's a few different ones that I'm actively trying to get involved with and see if I can have a conversation on the podcast, make things happen. And oh boy, it's very easy to feel offended as well. I would encourage you, never feel offended if somebody doesn't get back to you. So I think if we had to base it off of just the information that I gathered and then the testimonies that we have here, DMing someone multiple times, not a bad thing. In fact, some people would appreciate it. Because it's very easy to forget. It's very easy to fall behind.
I now have like a to-do list of DMs for tomorrow.
Let's go. But also, oh no. Am I on that list?
No.
Okay,
no,
I was gonna say.
No. Although there is probably something that I meant to share with you that I didn't.
Ooh.
So I'll probably see if that happens tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. Oh, let's see. Let me try to pull tugboat a little bit sooner.
What are some other things you kind of talked about before in the past ones, Kendo? Because I haven't been here for a while.
Well, let's see. Last week was just more of a straightforward, hey, we're out here. We can do VOD reviews, whatever. I was also sick coming off of the LAN. That's the one thing I love and I dislike at the same time about LAN time. You go to a LAN, and about 20 to 30% of the time, you come home with a cold. Just straight up.
Yeah.
I understand. It's normal.
It's like the work schedule is oftentimes so rough because you're last out the door and first in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then also people being dirty little gamers. Don't wash their hands.
Yep, agreed. Seen it so many times where people just don't wash their hands, and it's disgusting.
Okay, I threw an extra DM. We'll see if he actually comes a little earlier. But then the week before, we actually had Curtis and the topic matter was something that he does very well, and that is play-by-play.
Nice.
Curtis on play-by-play is always a lot of fun. And hey, we might get it. We might get him, and then shoot for start time 10 minutes. Sweet, I love it.
Pulling out. We're bringing out the boat. Toot toot.
We are tugging the boat.
We're gonna federally investigate the boat.
Yeah, you know what? I would appreciate the federal investigation. There was that one time in Nebraska.
Hey, yo.
Shut up. You can't just like say stuff like that.
I'm sorry, but it's so funny that became a Twitter thing.
Yeah.
One time I touched you in Nebraska. Wait,
Right.
what?
What?
Whoa.
One
Hey, yo.
time.
I did not sign up for this.
Oh, hey,
There he is.
how's it going? It's the man, the
The
myth, the
man,
legend.
the myth, the legend.
He has
Hey,
joined.
Tugboat.
It
How you doing?
might be 10 minutes. Who knows? But we'll not jump on the boat just yet. I'm really looking forward to the conversation today. Starting next month though, I may end up changing the way that I do things while CRL is in season. Just because the amount of places that I'm pulled trying to schedule multiple people, let's just say the amount of hours that I've put in trying to schedule different things and prep different things has been insane, especially with joining the CCA Fortnite admin team to get all the verifications in. Like, I'm adding hours and I'm not subtracting anything.
There's not enough time in the day sometimes.
No,
Yeah.
you're subtracting sanity.
Yes.
And sleep.
Well, yeah, exactly. Sanity and sleep. And at this point, 35, multiple children, married for over 10 years. Like, I'm already insane. Clinically insane. In order to keep what shred is left so I can continue to function, I have to make sure that I'm clearing the way for what's left of my brain cells. But what I may end up doing is going back to one of my off-season thought processes where people who wanted to get VOD reviews could post in the casting workshop. Like, hey, can we review this? And I will get to it ASAP on more of a unset schedule, you know? But then also once or twice a month, we can have one of these scheduled interviews where we talk about a topic, where we kind of round table and really enjoy talking about our industry. Because what I feel is the future for the casting workshop is, and it's always been this way, the more we can bring people together, the more that we can talk and enhance each other, the better. Like having conversations with a tugboat, with a Curtis, having back and forth between myself, Whoops, UJ Turbo, Fizzy, everywhere you are within your commentary journey, you can glean from experiences like this one. Kind of the same way that I gleaned a whole bunch from emceeing a round table at a LAN. Like, nuts. The amount of information that I was able to just get from that event. But making it more like a concentrated, okay, here's this date, save the date. Because this is going to be worth it. And then if absence makes the heart grow fonder, I get the feeling we'll end up packing out the casting workshop channel. Or, who knows, it may fall by the wayside.
I hope not.
I don't think that'll be the case, though. I truly think that the people who want to be involved are going to continue to be involved. Especially since my hope is I can start promoting this to more esports directors and try to get some of like the some of the college level broadcasts, where people are doing things themselves. I ended up.
I know someone you can talk to about that.
Yeah.
AKA my former director.
Yeah, people like USF and the J
Doubles.
Turbos of the world. Doubles, yeah.
Did you see the game against Siena?
I have not.
I'll send you a clip that you can peep at your convenience.
Oh, you are muted, sir.
No, you're muted for some. I mean, I can hear you, yeah, but Kendall,
Yeah.
you have him muted or something. I can hear him.
I can hear you, Tug. Yeah, what's up? What are you saying?
If Fizzy Turbo, if you want to turn on your
Hi.
cameras for a second, I'm gonna take like a screenshot for the tweet that's going on.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Let me
yeah,
just,
sure.
here you go.
1 sec. Just a moment.
That's the
Hey.
real one.
It's my favorite car in the game.
Let me tuck it away. Man, hair up, hair
Sit.
down. Do it matter?
It's up to you, dude.
True. I'll throw this out as a feeler. Feeler for the hair.
AEIOU.
Kendo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Huh. Okay.
Appreciate you
Just let me know when you're ready, Fizzy.
Busy.
Start this in like 15 seconds.
15
Okay.
seconds. Ain't counting.
We got the belief. Beliefometers going up.
My hopium levels, they're spiking.
There you
Let's
go. All
go.
right.
That's
Furia!
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam. There you go. Perfect.
That's all you get. Back to mundane.
Fizzy, what's your Twitter?
At capital FIZZY, capital FANTA, capital C, capital O.
I'm confused.
Sorry, FIZZY.
Yeah, Fizzy Fanta Co.
Got it. Bam. Cool.
This ends up getting recorded on my Twitch side. I also keep a recording just in case the Twitch side. Kansas and internet have never been a very good combination, so on occasion we end up having the stream crap the bed. So rather than having to do the direct upload or export from Twitch to YouTube, it'll be something that I take from off the computer. But we have all of our bases covered regardless of what's going on there. But yeah, just to let everybody know, we are live, we are talking, so conduct yourself in an orderly manner.
Aw, man.
Do I have to use Robert's Rules of Order now? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Are we taking notes now? What's Robert's rules? Is this on the main quiz?
Do I need to get minutes? Do I need to start taking minutes?
I mean,
Got it.
Was that that was the debate rules, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Robert,
they are.
Yep.
Like parliamentary procedure.
Okay. Were you good to get started, sir?
Oh yeah. There's the tweet. Let me just put this on Instagram.
Boom.
I don't think I follow any of you on Instagram, so if you want to be tagged on there, DM your @, please.
I think you
Bob,
follow me.
follow
I
you.
think.
Yeah. Oh, and Whoops, yeah, no, I do too. You've been putting out that Rocket League content, that's right.
Yeah. I haven't done anything in a couple days. I've been busy IRL.
Mine of course is @KendoSlice. If you found a whole bunch of
With the zero?
food-based content, yeah.
Yeah.
If you find a bunch of food-based content, chances are that's my Instagram.
I like food-based content.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I wanted to be a chef
right.
at one point in my time in my life.
Ah.
Billy.
And I am listening and paying attention. I'm just dual tasking. I'm re-sleeving magic cards. So I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I have to go through my collection and see if I can build a Niv Mizzet deck.
Oh, I have Niv Mizzet, both of them in here. I just
nice.
built a Miriam deck, so I'm re-sleeving them to these lovely dragon sleeves I have.
Oh, that's so pretty. I've just
Mhm.
got basic Dragon Shield.
Yeah, sorry. I like to theme things. That's just how. That's how I
I'm
am.
not quite that invested yet, but I will be soon, probably.
If you ever want to play sometime, anybody out there wants to play, I had Chixa and Storm Warrior. If you guys know who Storm is, basically he's a producer in Rocket League. And who else was with me? Nico Odin. He's part owner of Godspeed. So a lot of us Rocket League people trying to get together, play some Magic, and kind of like crossbreed, bring together both worlds and things like that too.
Love
Did
it.
you use
So-
like Arena or Tabletop Simulator?
Typically what I do is spell table, so we play with
Okay.
real
Spell
cards.
table.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will keep that in mind.
Yes, sir. DMs are open.
Just need to do that only classic Pokemon cards, and I'm there.
I mean, you can do that. I like.
Like Wizards of the Coast Pokemon cards only.
I like- I like.
Turbo, what's
I
your
like real
Instagram?
cards.
Wow.
Turbo, what's your Instagram?
It doesn't really. Don't worry about tagging me on Insta. I don't have an account set up for that.
Sounds good.
I literally just have like my old high school account, and I'm not worried about that. Just sits there, no posts for the last 2 years.
I knew I was going niche with the Pokemon, but
I'm just messing with you, Kendo.
Oh wait, do I have?
got
to
bro
go?
scoped there.
Oh no, I'm being
Yeah.
called out.
Alright,
You mean?
Word. I'm ready when you guys are.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get this party started then. We have starting at 31.
Oh, so
Where
it's
am
gonna be
I?
mean squid tonight. Sorry, interrupted.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Just making sure that I write everything down because people like bookmarks for some reason. Like
Yeah.
if
I'm
you're
still
not
gonna watch this back too.
if you're not tagging, you're not bagging. Never mind.
Exactly. Help
Okay.
this out.
Official start right there.
Okay.
So
I am sorry that like right as we're about to start, I have to bounce, but I will watch this back to get all the info. So
not a problem.
Thank you
I'll
for
I'll
coming
make
in,
sure we
Hardwood, yeah.
get your question
Yeah,
out.
yeah, no problem.
absolutely, I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%. So we are starting here. First off, thank you to everybody who is not just here, but thank you to our guests in FBI Tugboat. So, do you mind introducing
me.
yourself? And
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. My birth name is Jordan Fitzpatrick, but I am known as FBI Tugboat in the business, the stage name or whatever. That's how like I introduce it to non-esports people as a stage name because that's just easier to understand. I have been casting for April 2018 was the first time I ever casted. So we're just outside 5 years, I suppose. I mostly do first-person shooters. I do a lot of Rocket League. That's how most of these guys here know me. But I've done a lot of different esports. I've done a lot of different things from like hosting and interviewing, besides just like traditional casting and stuff. And I absolutely love it. I love that we're in this part of the business right now that mostly it's only people who are really really trying to do it because they love it, not necessarily because
Yes.
of other factors.
100%. This is a year where I feel like there's going to be a lot of fall off, enough so that the refinement period is going to be brilliant stuff. The people who come out of this next year, in my opinion, are going to be people who are in it for the long haul, and that's a brilliant place to be. I know some of the events that you have done, you cover in your resume, and I know we're going to be talking about resumes very soon, but I want to ask just a first question right off the bat. What would you say has been the key to your success in this industry?
Key of the success. I should probably have this Google Doc up. Key of success. There's Oh yeah, I was reading this earlier. That's such like a tough question because like.
Mhm.
So you mentioned like the resume and stuff, and like without that resume and without without a resume that I update regularly and include important information on that we'll get more into, kind of dive more into a little bit later. Like I wouldn't get half the gigs that I've gotten without a good reel, for example. I wouldn't get half the gigs I've gotten. But outside of like the physical tangible, right? If you're talking like the key to my success thus far, which is I'm a middle of the road caster. I'm anybody who's unfamiliar with esports, please don't be confused. I am not traveling every single weekend and stuff like that, or making millions of dollars or on the tier ones of any esports, at least consistently. I've had videos on I've had stints on the tier ones of esports, the top for like leagues or franchises or whatever for various esports, but not like consistent stuff. That is of course the goal. Asking me about the one key, I would have to say that it's like what the kids would say, shooting your shot. Like just not being afraid to send a DM to somebody that's like respectful, well worded, not at 3:00 in the freaking morning. To somebody who does hiring, right? Like I'm not out here DMing like pro players trying to do something with them. Like they're always going to just send you on to their managers or something like that. So if I had to boil it down to one single thing that I do that I don't think a lot of people do, it would have to be that. It would have to be the fact that I have no qualms or anxiety about hitting up somebody who does the hiring for XYZ in a respectful form. The flip side of that, I can't say that, and I don't want that to come out as just shoot your shot all the time with everything, because a perfect example of not doing that well is like somebody gets on a gig and then you hit them up and be like, yo, well, I can do this, I'm closer, I'm a better caster, I can do it for cheaper, or you don't have to pay for my per diem or something like that. That is a bad way to try and like cold call stuff. I have literally seen stuff that I've really wanted to do, and my message is along the lines of like, yo, I just saw Kendo doing this shit, no, he's gonna kill it, or sorry, can we
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, yeah, my bad. I just saw Kendo killing this shit. He's a great caster. He's going to continue casting it. If you ever need somebody else, then let me know.
Yeah.
Like, if Kendo can't do it for whatever reason, because that happens all the time as well. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And, like, how preparedness has gotten me some of the bigger gigs that I've gotten before, just like based on the fact of being prepared and stuff like that. But cold calling or cold DMing or whatever you'd call it, respectfully and in the right way would be the biggest key to my success, as moderate as has been in esports thus far.
I want to follow that up off the script just a little bit, because it goes straight into a question that J Turbo, who just actually left, had, and his thought was, how much is too much when you're reaching out? Because the cold DMs are very key. You have to be able to reach out in order to, you have to ask and have your hand out in order to receive. If you're not actually reaching out, people don't even know that you're interested. His question was, there are times where you DM, you don't get an answer. Do you DM again? How long do you go before you DM again? Okay. After you DM again, how much is too much? What's the limit? Feels like a dating show, Kendo. I know, right?
Feels like a dating show. But in all seriousness, like I'm not going to go into the comedic bit here, but there are a lot of things that you could draw between like the idea of, respectfully contacting like a romantic interest or something like that, and going for work, because they are relatively similar. We're obviously going to talk more so about the work one. So your questions there were more so along the lines of like, what is too much? I would say a perfect DM, a perfect like initial call for somebody that you haven't met before, maybe you follow them or they follow you or something like this, that you haven't like really interacted for or whatever else like that, is just upbeat, like really just like positive, and just, hey, I'm this. My tag is this. I'm FBITugboat. I cast this, that, and the third. I saw that your organization was doing this with this game, and I would love to talk to you soon about working on any on-air talent broadcasts that you need. I've sent essentially that message, Kendo, 100 times in the past probably 6 months. Just and you're talking about the unanswered ones, dude. That happens. That is part of the game. If you told a baseball player that, what are they gonna do? Just stop playing like halfway through 9 innings, right? Like it is like I'm being facetious, but that is literally the same exact mentality. Yeah. Like yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I have applied for something, nobody's answered for a year and a half, and then I do something else that person saw me on, and then gets like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, it was filtered. What if they're telling the truth, if they read it before, who gives a crap, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter, because they were doing what they were doing in the moment, and it's not something you can take offense to.
Yeah. Like
if it's somebody that you know well, and they stop like answering you or something like that when you start talking about work, okay, that's different. But if it's somebody that you haven't met before, especially somebody who's doing hiring stuff, they are expected to get DMs like that, to get casters who want to work to reach out to them and ask, hey, like I want to do this, again, respectfully, not by trying to undercut somebody, not by saying that somebody else did a bad job, nothing like that. But and if they don't answer, that is just part of life. That like sometimes you don't make a yellow light, Kendo, right? Like
Brilliant. Did you have something, Whoops?
Yeah, I just talked to somebody basically just recently who I told them the same exact advice essentially, where you kind of have to have this swag about yourself. You mentioned baseball players, basically. You know, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with casting. Like this guy was like just not sure of himself, and like I was like, oh, so what do you do? Like, how long you been producing for? How long you been in the scene for? Things like that. And like they just weren't so sure of themselves. I was like, listen, you need to be more confident in yourself, and like this is what I've done, this is what I have, you know, I'm trying to do, blah 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 down the line. Like you have to have that confidence in yourself as well when you're trying to sell yourself to somebody.
so that's a very good point. I kind of missed like the point that I was trying to make, or the point that I meant to make and forgot to. I wouldn't go about like listing accomplishments in initial DM. What I would do is like we're going to talk about resumes, but one sheets or like the cover letter is what they're traditionally known as. Something that somebody can take a look, see a couple pictures and stuff like that, and we'll show you guys on the stream a little bit of a better idea of what we're talking about a little bit later. But yeah, don't hit anybody with the resume. I'll admit I did that when I first started casting. Like the bam, like these are like the 10 events that I've done in the initial DM. Don't do that. You can't expect anybody to read through all of that stuff. One sheet first or a reel initially, and links to all like the full resume to the other stuff are obviously on my one sheets, my reels, and stuff like that. So
no, what I was referring to with that was just not DMing somebody, but like when I was just talking to them in a green room, you know, just have some confidence in yourself is what I was referring to.
I might have misunderstood that. My bad. My point stands though.
Yeah.
One sheets, people. You know, cover letters, something like that. Not full resumes.
Brilliant. Like one of the reasons I wanted to reach out to you is specifically just because of how well you have everything laid out, and I understand the grind. You don't talk yourself up very much, but out of all the commentators that I have ever met, come across, experienced personally, you have one of the widest arrays of resume, multiple titles. You're always working as many events as you possibly can. You do a really good job of representing that on Twitter. So it's like everywhere I look, you may have a humble thought of yourself, but at the same time, I don't stop seeing you working. And that's brilliant in an industry where people are looking for how consistent is somebody working? Is this someone just a flash in the pan, or is this their life? Is this their grind? Is this what they want? Like, you show it's your desire in your actions. So, brilliant stuff.
Thank you.
I actually have your link tree pulled up, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the important aspects of the DM, the initial DM. Of course, we had the cover letter, and I'm gonna see if I can share my screen. Let's go here.
Yeah, it's just I guess my point with that, like the resume is just too much information. A link to one thing. Resume, usually one sheet or reel, or resume, like if you think they really need like a bunch of things. A resume would be good, for example, if they were like hiring for multiple different esports, right? If you're just doing one esport, like just doing Rocket League, something like that, then just send the one sheet on. They'll be able to get the information they want, and then watch like the reel from there. And that I mean, that's kind of like a judgment call too. Like as long as you're short and you're respectful, people aren't gonna like. I really don't think people are gonna, really be that upset. Especially again if you're measuring the right person. Like that's crucial.
We're throwing out. I just want to start with the cover letter, and we could. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I know your resume is on here.
Wait. The resume that didn't connect?
Yeah. No, this was the cover letter here. Oh wait, do I have to sign it? Okay.
Yeah, you have to sign in, I believe, to view it.
Feels bad. Give me a minute.
Well, it does say for me too, though, Tug. It says that you need access to us. I guess
Ooh, okay.
I have to request access
right now. I'm changing that up right now. I messed that up. Oh my goodness. This is the public one, dude. Here, I'm changing the link right now on LinkedIn. I appreciate it. Hey, I'm glad that this is going on, right?
But yeah, we can push forward. I want to see the cover letter first because you had mentioned it, and like
I'm changing it literally
personally,
right now. That's my fault.
I'm personally impressed with the resume. Like the resume, long form wise, is one of my favorite resumes, and I have multiple styles of resume.
Right. Try it again, please.
Okay. And cover letter. Oh yeah, just straight one page.
Wait, oh my god, I messed this up again. I can't believe this.
Oh, you're fine.
I shared the wrong thing. Share with others. I was under pressure, okay? I was under pressure.
It's okay. It's okay.
Anyone with
sorry.
the link, copy link.
We can do your reel really quick while now that's going on. So here we go.
Admit it.
Here we go.
Really was inspirational, and again, have to admit it, we were wrong. Not a single XM4 so far.
Well, I wasn't wrong. No.
Wow. Left out in the lurch, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello and welcome back, folks. We are
Hey,
here. We
Jolly.
are live. The AFG Minor League Fortnite Finals doth start.
We are here. Grand Finals going on behind us, and I got my man King J over here from BBG. So round one by a little bit easier, a little bit more after that, but maybe not a whole lot, right?
Yeah, no, the first 2 rounds were kind of whatever, but then it got like serious after that.
247, 248, no one's gonna touch.
No way! No way! 249 comeback. I have never seen that in my life shift. They keep it in this one and take it with 1 point left. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That stage literally was about to fall down.
Popping up. Yes, get that slap. Oh, let's go,
Let's
young
go.
man.
That was 50 to
man.
43. New World coming back. A little reverse
Let's
sweep
go.
action. Fantastic stuff. Top SR in the world.
Top SR.
What
That
was
doesn't
that?
matter.
Some
Counterbound.
fantastic production. Who is forward? I don't even know who these people are. Fantastic stuff. A comeback and everything in between.
It's gonna be a good start for
I might
the team
actually
that now has
update
respawn.
that clip
The
soon.
DC already back on
That's
this
just a
one, already
hyperx.
rotated
Sorry.
Hunt into point stun and more onto Vortex. A lot of attention here. Shatter is capable, and now mid players are moving in. There it is! That's landed on almost everybody on the side of Fairfield. Charge into more Vortex. Going on to run himself. Pop over, but easy block from Turbo. Players coming in the corner, and AJ gets a second. You're good. A nail biter, a barn burner, white knuckler ride we have here.
So Fizzy, whoops you hiring this guy?
Oh, 100%.
There you go.
He seems very charismatic. He seems to know what he's talking about. He's diversified. He's
Wait, did it still not?
slightly above average as far as looks go.
Did it still go to the one sheet?
Yeah.
Wait, did you refresh it? Because it's a different link.
Let me double check. I'll refresh.
There we go.
Oh,
Jesus, that was gonna
there
be so
we go.
embarrassing if I did that again. That would be
Okay,
so
no, you're
embarrassing if
fine.
that wouldn't again. Oh my goodness.
That might have been my own mistake there. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was really happy with this. This is just a basic. Well, we'll just run it through from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just a basic template that I got off somewhere on somewhere online. Real basic bio. And this and all this is 100% accurate. I got interest in commentary at a very, very young age. Didn't do anything with it for a while. Got a bachelor's. Worked in an office and marketing office selling advertising and stuff. Hated it. Did it one time. Fell in love with it. The as seen in part, just some of the bigger things, and obviously you got to include like more recent stuff. The Stanley SuperCon out there in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia that I got to do. The COD YouTube channel, like that was for the release of the game. I was talking about the tier 1 stuff. Like obviously you include all that in there, and then I've gotten to work in LA after moving out to Vegas from Charleston, South Carolina, where I was born about a year ago, and I've got to work out there like 6 or 7 times at least, and I'll be out there on Friday again. And so it's important to be well-rounded, like crazy, awesome stuff, tier 1 stuff for Call of Duty, international stuff, as well as like the more recent things that I've done there. Range of ability, talking about some of the games that I've focused on, and also some of the poker commentary that I've done here in Las Vegas. Again, like versatility and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then stage hosting, content creation, and I need to edit this to include voiceover work as well.
I love
all
it.
the contact information there at the top. And I always like I've always liked my little personal mantra there. That needs to be comma. There you go.
There we go. now you're now the grammar police won't come after you.
Yes, exactly. Now that I actually have this up, this is the first time the public's seeing it, apparently. So.
Oh no.
At least we fixed it.
Makes it all the more. That makes it all the more impressive, to be perfectly honest.
You know, that's what I was doing. I'm revealing my one sheet on the CCA caster workshop tonight. That's what I was
Joke's
doing.
on you, Kendo.
Yeah, there you go. It was all planned.
I love it. Let's see here. So just right off the bat, leading with the commentary reel, leading with the one sheet, and just your one shot is brilliant. I love also your full resume, because you go down the line where you start listing everything you've done, and this is where it becomes very, very impressive. If you already have somebody's attention, you go through the work history here. Fortnite, Overwatch, New York, Nevada, South Carolina, New Jersey, and Atlantic City, Philadelphia, Saudi Arabia, which I still can't get over. And you go through the amount of different titles: FIFA, Rocket League, Tekken, Halo, Call of Duty, and just down the line, superb. And then it'd be one thing if that was it. Pictures speak 1,000 words.
Also, I want everybody, like, I will never change this first picture, because maybe it doesn't look like to you guys, but this Jordan Fitzpatrick on the right side, that is the look of terror. That was the look of absolute terror. The very first LAN ever that I've ever done. And Rob Gonzalez is an absolute, like, he was a veteran then, and that was in 2019. You know, and that was a fun time, a fantastic time. Learned a lot. Had some crazy memories. That I was obviously all as you can see was also pre-mustache. So.
Yes, like we were just straight up beard at that point.
Oh yeah, just straight up beard, standard stuff.
So by the,
I mean, like again, in pictures speak 1,000 words, right? I can say and list a bunch of org names and cities and dates and numbers of which one I've done and stuff like that. Picture puts it, you know, at least a little bit more realistic. You know what I'm saying?
It also adds the personality.
Yep.
Like you go down. Like I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure I believed Saudi Arabia, but there you are.
Yep. And those are the London Royal Ravens. I guess Shawnee is with Shawnee, the guy in the middle right, is with the Los Angeles Thieves and stuff like that. Like they're all these players have gone on to do other things on different teams and stuff like that by this point. But yeah, those are the guys.
Just a panel talk on commentary as well. People having
really
fun,
cool.
showing off flexibility. Content cowboy right there.
How about that number 19? Number 19.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I've never seen this guy to the right before. But
that was so much fun though, and that's such like a perfect shot. Jay Turbo, I wish he was still here because he got some fantastic shots from that Nebraska LAN as well. But that one was good, and Kendo and I got to have some fantastic fun. That is something I do want to talk about at some point on the podcast about like versatility and stuff like that. Just put an asterisk in it, put a pin in it. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Versatility I think will be a really good one to talk about. Towards, I imagine, a little bit further towards the end. Yeah, feel free to throw that in anywhere on our sheet.
Absolutely.
But that LAN in particular, if you've never experienced a LAN before, if that would have been a first LAN for me, oh boy, that would have been overwhelming. Because we were pulling some strings. Yes, that is a HyperX. That is a HyperX quadcast.
Yes, it is. Oh, I forgot about that. They had us bring. I
don't know that they had us bring as much as it was. We just brought it automatically.
Oh, okay. That's probably smart.
There were multiple of us who had setups.
This is like the one like soup. I have this like an audio splitter, like just a simple like 3.5 millimeter jack that has saved multiple LANs so that one person doesn't have to like wear AirPods under their headphones and stuff like that. That one little fucking $3 piece of equipment has saved me so much. Like I can't tell you how much like effort and time of my life that has saved at this point.
100%. Just down the line. You were also, I was actually originally one of the people who was supposed to do that one. I'm glad that you are the one who ended up getting it.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, Esports Zone, awesome guys, and I had not been to Kansas or Missouri at that point, and at that LAN, I ate a burnt-end brisket sandwich that made me want to cry tears from my eyes. Like literally, like 3 or 4 hours. I got like some time the last day before I left, and got to go to one of like the big barbecue places like right around there. And it was awesome. That's another point, man. I know all we've been talking about is just esports, but it's very important to like enjoy, you know, yourself and enjoy what you do, like beyond just esports stuff. And I always personally, if I can, try, you know, if you're going Friday to Sunday, why not stretch that to a Thursday to Sunday, or why not stretch that to a Friday to Monday or something like that? And with that, I've gotten to go, you know, not just do like the classic like working out of town thing, right? Where you fly in, you know, immediately Uber off to the hotel, Airbnb that you're staying at, right? And then just, you know, get to sleep as soon as you can to wake up, go off to where you're going. Like you don't get any time to see the place. You don't get time to see the city that you're actually visiting. I always try and tack on a day on either side. If you know, I was make it very clear to the organization, hey, if it's cool, get another, you know, a day later flight or a later flight even. So I'd, you know, wake up on a Sunday morning or a Monday morning or whatever else like that after the LAN is done. And instead of leaving straight off at noon, I leave at like 10 p.m. that night and have a full day to myself to investigate a city. And that's one of the things I got to do in Kansas City is eat a burnt-in sandwich that made me want to cry tears from my eyes.
When I was in Texas for Worlds, all barbecue in Colorado was ruined for me.
I can imagine. I can imagine they do it different in the Lone Star State.
Enjoy yourself each and every time you have the opportunity, and really that's part of the culture of working a LAN for the first time and beyond. The more often that you're able to enjoy the culture, get out in the area and have a little bit of fun, but also take a deep breath, because a lot of the time, and this is me doing myself a disservice, I tend to have the tendency, like my tendency has always been to drive to LANs.
Yeah.
So I end up going through that drive home, and the only thing I'm thinking is, wow, I get to do this.
Dude, Kendo, I think I told you this in Nebraska. I'm sorry, I cut you off. My bad.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I always say this. I think I may have even told you this in Nebraska. In like an alternate universe somewhere, you know, like the endless list of alternate universes, right? There's plenty of alternate universes where just for whatever reason the setup is not that we get paid to do what we do, but instead like commentary is more of like a prestigious position or something like that. And like individuals have to pay to go forth and cast. And that Jordan Fitzpatrick in that life, you know, works some 9 to 5 that he hates, makes money, and goes to pay to cast on the weekend, because I really just do love it. And the afterglow after a really solid LAN, it is unequivocal.
It really literally is second to none.
And that's I like flying
Really
because
is.
it makes you just feel like an adult afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like you get paid to go work, you get paid to do this thing, and now you're flying back. A small point on the driving thing is just, I mean, I do, you know, again, versatility, doing other things for money. Kendo and myself both do food delivery as like a side thing, right? Obviously, it's not something that sparks joy in my heart, but it is something that pays the bills, keeps stuff afloat. Kendo knows as well as I the wear and tear on cars and stuff like that. You're flying off somewhere, you don't have to worry about anything else like that. You know, if there's a canceled flight, they're gonna you know, Delta, American, Frontier, Spirit, even they're gonna make it up to you, right? So that's something I've had to learn with a couple close calls, like pop tires, just a sheer amount of miles put on a car, right, just to get somewhere. Flying's the move, and the reason why, big part of the reason why I moved to Las Vegas, because Vegas has such cheap flights everywhere, man.
To touch on that, the ever famous Prius is now, it's done. I had tweeted about that. It's 300,000 miles of joy gone, but good car, good life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll play taps for it off stream.
It's funny that you say that too, because like I'm literally just trying to plan this trip to San Diego. Number one, if I want to go, okay. Number two, if I can afford to go, and then number three, me and my friend who I'm going with, he loves to travel. He travels, you know, around and stuff like that too. So he was saying just that too. He was like, I want to spend a day in the city that I'm visiting, either on the front end or the back end. And I was like, 100%, dude. If we go, I would totally stay like the 5th through the 10th or whatever it is, the dates or whatever. So I was like, I'll totally do that so we can go spend some time in San Diego, because that's one thing I didn't do in Los Angeles too much when we went to, what's it called, LA LAN for Rocket League. It's just we didn't really get to go spend some time in LA. We kind of like rushed here, rushed there, had to be at the venue at 10 o'clock, for the doors opening and things like that. And yeah, I mean, it was cool, but I wish I would spend like a couple more days in LA, just to kind of go experience it.
Recommendation: always do the day on the end, because you'll spend 3 or 4 days somewhere and people will be telling me, oh, you got to try this, oh, you got to try that. Frequently that'll be from locals and stuff like that. And the worst thing ever is going out to like the mid barbecue place, right? Like the only reason I got to go to that, the only reason I got that burnt in sandwich in Kansas City is because somebody recommended to me sometime throughout that weekend after I was talking about wanting to try barbecue, like, oh, try that place. And then I searched for it, and sure enough, it's on the way to the airport. Easy as that,
Boom.
Yeah, we did the same thing in LA too. Like some guy, I was like, I just want some fish tacos, bro. I want to say I ate fish tacos in Cali, dude.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
And so he was like, I'll put you on to like the best like sushi joint, and like he sent me off, and like it was a good place to go eat. It was expensive, but it was a good place to go eat.
Yeah, nice.
The one other thing I did want to touch on is personal conduct, both on site and offline, or online. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job, me. Type that in right next time.
That also bothers me. The online, the offline, and yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I get it offline, but I'm talking about getting on the internet. Sorry, I feel you.
One thing I've always admired about you is you have a professional atmosphere about you on a regular basis. Yeah, there'll be times where, oh no, curse word came out on the podcast, yeah. But every single time I've ever seen you on stream, etc., like you almost go into this Zen mode. Yep. It's something that I appreciate, and people who have met you and worked with you, they know about the type of conduct to expect from you each and every time. Like, you live up to your mantra. Tell us a little bit about some of the personal conduct that you would advise, like your own personal experience, one, but two, what would be your advice to other people who are looking to step into LAN roles?
Okay, so one of the biggest things I think is that, like, so I have always been kind of a potty mouth, right? But because I never like streamed a lot, like personally, I don't think I had that comfortability of just like swearing and just saying whatever's on my head, like whatever's in my head, like initially, right? Like now, podcasts, stuff like that, that's more of like an easy flow when it comes to just like the points I want to get across. But when it comes to particularly swearing content and stuff like that, a lot of it is just really just, you have to do the thing a lot. Like, you have to recreate it, and you have to fail sometimes. I've there are no clips out there of me saying that anything that's unforgivable. You guys can search for them. But I have made, I have let slip a swear word. I have like gone a little bit too hard, like joking on a team. Again, nothing like bigot or anything crazy like that, but gone a little bit too hard when they weren't performing and stuff. And so, to answer your question, a little bit of it is trial and error. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect broadcast. There is not. I've never had one. Nobody I've ever met has casted a perfect broadcast ever. And I challenge you to find somebody who has. But when it comes to like the professionalism, I think a lot of it is like, I know how to comfortably be myself around people, and then just immediately turn that from, okay, this person who swears a little bit, dark humor, yada yada, to initially just go to this. And when people see that, that's very attractive to people, because they know they don't have to worry about you saying the wrong thing, especially people who are in hiring positions.
Would you say, as far as conduct on site and online, uniformity, the rule of thumb there, or?
Let's see. So I swear in like my tweets, for example, right? I don't do it that often, and when I am, it's going to be for it's not just swearing to swear. I'm just not just the 12-year-old middle schooler out here who just discovered the F word, right?
Yeah.
I think that's part of being myself, and I don't think that in that scenario, I don't think that Twitter is viewed as like some professional space. For example, I don't think you could find a swear word of mine that I've ever typed on LinkedIn. That's just a perfect example between the different kind of social media sites and what's expected on them. right? I work with middle schools all the time. I have never once had anybody who's come to me from the middle schools look at my Twitter and have anything to say, but this is you as a person right here, because then they can turn around and see me talk to middle schoolers, cast live right here, and say nothing, no swear words, nothing, no dark humor, not make fun of anybody, like nothing like that, right? And again, I think it's more so about like that, like the attractiveness there is the fact that they can see me and know that I'm not going to say the wrong thing on broadcast, because that's, especially in today's day and age, that is reasonably one of the greatest concerns for anybody who's going to be hiring on air talent.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, so you mean we can't say?
There it is.
I...
Howdy,
Grant.
people.
No.
What's going on? That's Grant. That is
and
Cicero. Gotcha.
Hey, W. I just saw friends and I came to say hi.
Well, howdy.
And now I will gwitty on out of here.
Aw, well, good to hear your voice.
Well, I mean, I can stick around.
Yeah,
for a couple.
you can stick around for a couple. I know we're talking to Tugboat about first LANs, or just LAN experiences in general, and go ahead.
I was gonna say my first LAN experience. I was never invited back.
Ooh. What? Do you want to talk about what happened? We're streaming right now, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Lesson number 1: always be professional.
Yes.
If you're not professional, you're done. Now, unprofessionalism has multiple boundaries. Don't talk about things that people don't want to talk about. Specifically, faith. If you talk about faith, hey, newsflash, that makes people uncomfortable, especially if you do it in the wrong way. So just don't even bring it up. Just don't do it. I shared my faith, what I believed, with some people. That made them upset. They told the dude who hired me, and I was never seen again. And that also ended up disqualifying me from opportunities with DreamHack. And I was over here wondering for several months, why won't DreamHack respond to me? It's because I'm basically on a blacklist. So read the room at all times and play to that. Because if you don't read the room, well, you don't get invited back.
Yeah. And there's a simple solution there, really, guys. And we all know what that is. Just like me, just be an atheist. As simple as that. I'm just kidding. Totally messing around, guys. Totally messing around.
Well, hang on. Wait, Tugboat. Let me evangelize to you really quick.
Grant, do I need to server mute you? This is not the time.
There you go. We're having fun. We're having fun.
I know. That's actually like the 30th time Grant's been threatened to be server muted. Just for the giggles. It's all a joke by now. But.
Yeah. I guess what I was focusing on, Kendo, was was the swearing aspect.
Yeah.
But Grant does bring up a huge point. I, like every other reasonable person, don't have anything against anybody's personal faiths, but what he just said right there, right? Talking about these things in a professional setting, not a personal setting, not with your friends, not with a partner, not with your parents, not with siblings or something like this. Again, right? Faith, religion, politics, current cultural climates in certain ways, guys. I think some people know what I'm talking about.
Polarizing
there are certain
topics.
things that don't polarizing topics, exactly. There are certain things that don't make people comfortable, and so just like with casting, just like when I worked in a marketing office, just like door dashing, right? I wouldn't put information out there that I know makes some people uncomfortable in that professional setting. I would reserve those conversations with friends, with caster coworkers, with siblings, with partners, with people that roommates, like stuff like this. So like interpersonal relationships, right?
Yeah.
And that holds true with all kind of like personal spaces, right?
I'll add to that too. There's nothing wrong with having those conversations outside of the work environment.
Yep.
One-on-one.
in private, but there is something wrong with doing it while you're still on the clock. That can
While you're
that
getting
can be
paid.
very weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now I will say, like a follow-up, like part 2 to that story was eventually I did get on staff with DreamHack, just not
Hey.
production. And I had backstage access. So while I was hanging out with some folks, decided to go say hi to a friend, saw the entire crew that I was working with, and I got to kind of go up to them, got to apologize, and then one person actually opened up to me about their faith background. And I was like, how interesting. And as we Christians say, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yep.
So there's part 2. All was well because I matured and I grew up and I learned from the experience. And I grew a pair and I went up to them and apologized, right?
Yep.
I didn't know who I offended, but I was like, if I did, you're still my boy, still my homie.
Yep.
Anyways.
There's a lesson to be learned right there. Just sucking it up and biting the bullet when you're in the wrong. This is a business of egos. This is a business of
humility.
egos. Yes, exactly, humility. And I have squashed major problems for myself by nipping problems in the bud before. Because I'm not perfect. Again, I've when these things arise is better, not necessarily immediately, like Grant said. You had the opportunity afterwards to do that at a different time, a different day, and stuff like that. But when I had that opportunity, it really felt like it was available, and it wasn't like forced or nothing like that. I made things clear about how I felt, how apologetic I was, and things like this, and the things moved forward from there. So,
anyways, I gotta go play Fortnite with the homies.
hey, there you go. Where we drop the boys.
But hey, there's a nugget from info. That was also my highest paying gig ever that I completely blew. So
happens.
Yeah. But anyways, goodbye, friends.
Much love, Grant.
Gwitty on out of
Hey,
here.
Grant.
Gwitty.
Let's see here. I wanted to segue into the next point. Just going back to the resume discussion. Having the one sheet cover letter open as well. I do want to talk about what are some of the critical points of what should go into your resume. Like, what are we trying to hit when we send somebody our one sheet? And I also have a couple of other one sheets. See here. This was I talked to Ravish recently,
Awesome guy.
and this is he gave me this. Here's the best part. I know that he made this, at least I'm pretty sure that he made this almost on the fly, because this says professional software engineer resume.
You didn't even rename it. I love it. Bro,
Bro
is an awesome guy.
Bro is amazing. I love the experience. We found out we had a lot in common when I talked, but I saved this one. Like he threw this out. Another one I wanted to bring up was my friend Mitch Mosey. Has one of the most colorful one sheets I have seen in my life.
Happy birthday, Mitch. It's his birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday, Mitch. Happy birthday.
There's a lot of people with birth. Like, the amount of birthdays on this day. Like, Bates has his birthday. Yep. One of the Rogue Company commentators, GK, ended up having a birthday today. It's like, wow. a lot of peeps. But
love it. I wouldn't be doing my job unless I pointed out the only like major difference between, I would say, mine. Oh, sorry, not the only major difference. Like, okay, so Mitch, for example, very aesthetically pleasing, right?
Yes.
Going over to Ravish.
But as far as sections, let me see if I can actually do this side by side. Nope, no, I can't. Nope, this is a disaster. This is
with
Windows
11. You can do this easily.
A little bit more straightforward. The reason why I like these one sheets, like from Google and stuff like that, is because they can click immediately onto my onto those links, right?
Yeah.
The Wikipedia down bottom, the link tree up top, and the email address right there. The only thing I would change about Ravish or Mitch's is like if they don't have that, if it's just a PDF, then have like the QR code, because QR codes are annoying, but at least you can get a link from it. That is one of the biggest reasons. Like, I've had people tell me before, like, oh, I saw this and I saw that. Somebody sent me an awesome resume, but there's no link to anything. Like, and it is no longer 2008. I am not going to type www.twitter.com/FBI_tech. Like, people just aren't going to do that.
It's like,
especially when they have so many options ahead of them.
It's like cold calling somebody with just a business card.
Yep.
And you don't give them any avenue to pursue.
Yep.
That you want to
exactly
leave
the same idea.
things. You want to leave people the opportunity to click on something and learn a little bit more, rather than it's like an open invitation. Would you like to add fries with that?
Yep. It's as bad as like having a resume and then not having it linked to anything else. It's like, okay, they just got everything they need to rent this little space, which is what we do. Rent this right here, and the audio comes out the throat, right? That is exactly what we do. The worst thing possible is give somebody an awesome reel and then not have any sort of like follow up to that, or no Twitter links, no email, no address like that. Nothing like that else. I opted for a much more simpler one. Again, this template was online, but there's links everywhere to anything that you might want to see on here.
Yeah, and you head down the line here in the full on one. It is literally a never-ending, literally never-ending works-cited links.
Also, you were talking about the resume, so I think one of the ways in which mine is like aesthetically pleasing or whatever is it's the same once you get to experience, or once you get to like actually the LANs casted, it's on the resume. It's just the same format, right? It's the same the organization organization with the name of the event, the esports involved, and the dates I was there and where exactly was that, with a clear distinction, like, oh, this is in Albany, New York, this is not Las Vegas, Nevada, oh, this is online. And also, like, it would be worse if I didn't show, obviously, guys, I'm not sure if you knew, but a global pandemic came and shut down every live event for about a year and a half in 2020, right? During that time, obviously, there are very, very few live events that I did. The only thing I think I actually did even during that time was down in Florida for the on the Call of Duty League channel, and we had to do everything in a bag of chips, testing wise and everything else like that, up to standard at that time. But outside of that, all I had was online events, and it would be way worse to not list anything, to make it look like I hadn't worked during that time, just in case somebody didn't check and see, oh, that was September 2020. Nobody was doing a live events there.
Mm-hmm. Any other critical points on a resume that you feel need to be there, or are impactful being there?
Some people say they don't like the pictures, but like this is not a traditional resume, right? Like this is an extended resume.
Yeah.
This right here with the one sheet is what I would send in like a cold DM, which gets at one point probably half my work plus. Now, as I've been doing it for a few years, a lot of my work comes from people I've worked with before who have seen what I've done and have liked it. And I get hit up for other stuff, and then the ball rolls from there. You meet more people at live events. So,
want to move on again. I glazed over commentary reels really quick, and I want to glaze over it one more time. One thing that I've noticed about commentary reels that are successful, you want to try to keep it to under 2 minutes, and yours is both impactful and punchy, but it's short form. To where you're like, wow, you packed all that into minute 45?
Yep, exactly. That was the biggest piece of advice that I got, because I think my first reel was literally like 4.5 minutes long or something like that, and it was just so much. You want it to be versatile. As you can see there, I literally started off with a funny little joke, my co-caster down in Florida, like, poking fun at me and stuff, and then got like the more of the hype commentary and stuff, with that ending out mostly like hype commentary wise around the around like the Call of Duty, and then shifts in other games or slowed down a little bit more, and then you end with the Rocket League. And that super hype, what the white knuckler ride or whatever I said there, right? Yeah,
I like that line.
Bring people back down and stuff. Yeah, that was the Peeps run through the grid, if I remember right, and that was an epic time. Obviously, you've seen different games. One thing I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to be boiling that down to maybe shorter clips, but different games, and like updating stuff. The Call of Duty clip with me and Shift back in like 2019, fantastic clip. No chance I could ever recreate that, but it is now 3 years old. And it's also like 25 seconds long or something like that. That's time that I could dedicate to more Rocket League, especially since that's more so what I do now than say Halo. So keeping real clips to LAN stuff generally, that's going to be like a big thing as well. I think the Overwatch clip is the only one on there that's online. Not 100% sure. Also, interview stuff. Again, we've been talking so much about versatility and doing different things. If voiceover work, for example, which is something I do, was more like commentary, then I would include stuff like that. But that's a different beast.
You're talking hosting, you're talking interviewing, you're talking commentary, or analyst stuff as well, obviously. Anything on a desk, anything with a microphone in your hand and commentary should generally kind of be the same thing. And anybody who really wants to make it in this business should be able to at least do those things on like a base level. Interviewing, hosting, analysts, even if you're just a commentator.
So I guess that kind of leads to a question that I have, or it pretty much answers it for the most part, but I was wondering if you have any expansion on this. So as much as I want to force myself to, I just really don't care for FGC or FPS games. Rocket League is pretty much my thing, and is that what kind of you described the best way to diversify within one title, so to say?
This is such a tough question now because like a lot of obviously my decision to do different games came from esports in 2018. COVID obviously hadn't happened yet. Esports are franchising left, right, and center, and it seemed like doing different things was the move. I would say that at least for the beginning of a certain person's career, doing just one game is probably not good, especially because and unless you live in the middle of nowhere, the cities around you and stuff like this are going to be usually the source of your first LAN. That's exactly how it was for me. I drove an hour and a half up to Greenville, South Carolina to cast Fortnite for free. And after that, I just fell in love with it, and so it was an easy decision at that point. But going with games that are probably similar, like for example, I would say like Rocket League to like Madden or hockey, maybe.
I was thinking NHL 23. That sounds decent.
Yeah. I think that'd be pretty similar.
Yeah.
Obviously your FGC to FGC, your Smash into Tekken, your Street Fighter into Super Smash Brothers. First person shooters used to be all the same, but now like you have like your crazy cracked like Call of Duties and even some Halos to an extent, and then like that's pretty different from like your Overwatches or even your Valorants kind of with all the abilities and all this other stuff. I'm not saying that any esports are like easier to cast necessarily, especially on a deeper level than any of the rest of them, but keeping it within general central themes is not going to be a bad thing. As far as Rocket League, that is kind of hard because Rocket League is just such a unique esport. But sports games would probably be closer to that. Whenever somebody asks me how to get into commentary and they just don't know what they want to commentate or they know a bunch of different esports, I always tell them Rocket League because it is flying car soccer. Like it is obviously much more complicated than that, but at least for an initial cast, just keeping it to those three words is not going to be a bad thing. If your question was, should you branch out into other esports and stuff like that earlier on in your career, I would say that doing at least a few of them isn't going to hurt. Having a main, everybody has a main, but doing at least a few didn't hurt. At the time, for me, back in 2018, doing 6 different esports regularly was the move. Now I don't think that's the case anymore.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate it. I think part of my disinterest in FGC and FPS games just kind of comes from not growing up with them, to be honest. Like I never had any I never had or really cared to play any like Call of Duties or Street Fighter, this and that. But the sports games, that's something interesting, especially if I already do some work in actual live sports. So I assume there's at least some form of transition there, but getting to know the game and such just comes with time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh man, I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry, Fizzy.
I am the exact same way, trust me.
If I was gonna say to add to that, like always doing something that you enjoy and are knowledgeable about is always a good thing, you know. So I mean, if you really do enjoy one genre, one sport, whatever it may be, then stick to it. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that because diversifying yourself is a lot better. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best option for yourself.
Right, because that's kind of the philosophy I've been stuck on this whole time. Like, while I could theoretically go off for FGC and FPS games, I just simply wouldn't enjoy it, and I don't feel like it would be terribly productive.
But on the same hand, and the flip of the coin, it could lead to some other opportunities. Like, you know, you work for somebody, they could have a door open for something else, you know, so they could see and like you and carry on to something else as well. So it's one of those things where it sacrifices. I'm doing this to kind of get to where I want to be.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Again, I can't even tell you how much work I've gotten from doing this esport, and then this person works in this other thing. Because when it comes to production, like producers, observers are much less like specified for individual esports than casters are, definitely. And that is where a lot of work comes from, your production staff, and the producers, observers that you work with. Also, Fizzy, I remember what I was going to say. I would challenge
the statement a little bit by saying that, like, I didn't grow up with Rocket League, right? I'm 31. Nobody really, nobody this age now really grew up with Rocket League. So like, yeah, I grew up playing Halo, grew up with the Call of Duties, grew up with these things and stuff like that. But and that is part of the reason why I enjoy them. What you said, I guess I took your question as like, if I enjoy these games, should I branch out into casting them? And so I said yes, it couldn't hurt. If you don't enjoy it, that's the answer right there. There's no further question beyond that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's like I didn't grow up with them, but as kind of a function, I just don't enjoy them. In part,
maybe try like the Fall Guys, the stuff like that, right? Like the more like fun games
that would be
that like anybody could kind of do, and that's much less about like super in-depth like analytical commentary, and more just like having a good time on mic. Because again, like diversifying isn't gonna hurt, and those are the games that you learn how to make like quick, funny, like snazzy jokes and stuff like that, right? Guys, I didn't like. I hope that I don't think I have to say this. I hope it wasn't offensive, really, the whole atheist thing, but that came out right off the top, and I knew that the crowd, the set and the setting was going to be good for that. I didn't come into this thinking, oh man, I'm going to make a great atheist joke on Kendo's stream, right? like doing the things like Fall Guys, like crab games, like other really fun stuff like that. Like that's how you make your chops, with getting in like the snappy wording or a good joke or other things like that. Not that Rocket League doesn't have funny moments. Like it can be a freaking hilarious game, but the other games I think lend themselves more to that, especially because of randomosity. And if you can stomach them, then yeah.
Okay, that is a good piece. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Not a problem.
I have a semi-related anecdote, actually. Like me or transitioning into casting Rocket League from just playing it competitively, because I used to play in CRL. I used to do tournaments like at a similar level. It was like killing my joy in the game, and then when I switched into casting, I kind of reinvigorated that, and I've actually had more fun like casting and commentating and streaming in the last year than I think I did competing in like my last few years at university. So just like, personally, casting's really made me enjoy Rocket League again. So
I've noticed one thing, like if I have like a long day, and I feel certain the other casters in this chat can hear me. If I like have a long day, like a 5-6 hour plus day of casting something, the absolute last thing in the world that I'm gonna do is turn the camera off, turn the ring light off, grab some water, and then sit down and play that game. That is the absolute farthest thing from my mind. Now, if it's like a shorter day, or especially if it's like a really, really good broadcast on a shorter day, then yeah, absolutely. I'll cast some Overwatch, play some Overwatch, cast some Rocket League, play some Rocket League. But usually, especially if it's like LAN stuff, the last thing I want to do is look at that screen.
I agree.
And there's nothing wrong with that, is my point. Like I can thoroughly, fully enjoy a cast, but it's just different, right? It's more like the business aspect to it, right? And in a day or two, I can always go home and hop on twos and still have a great time. But it's just like on that day, it's just too much on the day.
Did we have any other questions that we wanted to ask? I want to make sure I gauge the questions before we get into a spot where time becomes an issue.
Oh, yeah.
I have to leave here pretty soon, so if I may have the mic for a second. We were talking before you came pretty much about, I've applied to a couple of LANs before. What do you do if you have been denied, kind of after you apply to some of those LANs? What's the next step after that? Because to me, it's not necessarily discouraging. That's the wrong word. But at the same time, it is like a mental setback. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do I try to I know keep on just applying, and eventually something's going to stick or whatever. But at the same time, like a gig that I think I kind of should have got kind of just didn't go to me type thing. And I just kind of want to know, like, how do you respond to that?
You said the magic word. That right there, the should. What's a good way to put it? Like, nothing in this business is owed to anybody, and that's the way I'll put it. Unless you like birth this land from your loins, then I don't think anybody like deserves quote. Or you said the word should, and I don't want to be too harsh here, but I do want to hold your feet to the fire, because I think that casters get in that mentality all the time. Like, oh, I did this, or the person they brought on has done this much less than me. This is such a freelance business, and I guess it's kind of like exposure therapy, right? I've gotten turned down for 10,000 more LANs than I've actually gotten, and that's just a GG go next. And some people, like, what's the good way to put it? It's that old phrase that like some people's opinion of you is none of your business. Some people just straight up aren't gonna like your face, man. I think you're a gorgeous man, Whoops you. But at the end of the
thanks,
day,
bro.
some people are just not gonna like your face.
But
They're
the
just not
thing is,
gonna like your voice.
it wasn't even
Like,
for a casting gig. It wasn't for production. It was literally for like admin work. And I'm just like, okay, you know what I mean?
Well, then maybe that's my point more so. Maybe just somebody just doesn't like it's not like a question of like, you know, do you have the witty wording? Do you have the big booming voice or the experience to cast this Rocket League or whatever? It might just be at the end of the day, man. And I'm not I don't know anything about the situation whatsoever. But it may just be somebody just doesn't really like you. And again, there's nothing like esports CEO of a business, you know, a baseball player. There's always going to be those people.
Yeah.
Just because esports is like newer, I don't think that people like just joining or watching this who have just like getting into esports or wondering about this and stuff should think that it's going to be anything less so, because people are people everywhere you go.
I agree.
I hate to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think it applies to like anything in life. I guess it goes down to you know, more about like who you know, like, you know, if they have past prior experience with you, and if you made your impression onto them, basically. So I guess I kind of just have to put myself in that mindset. I guess, you know, I'm just like, you know, on to the next. I guess is the best way I can kind of describe it.
Like, I was gonna say, I'd hate to sound like a broken record, but like it really is just like you have to maintain that mentality, and it is unfortunate because I've known multiple casters that like they just can't get past that, and now they don't do it anymore. Unfortunately, they've gone on to admin work, they've gone on to production stuff, or they just straight up quit esports. Some of them, I wouldn't be doing the question justice unless I'd like repeated this. Some of them, a lot of that came from the I did this, I should be able to be on that, and that mentality in freelance anything, in my opinion, is like a huge detriment to the mental when you don't get that thing. And it's almost worse when you do get that thing, because it's like you're proving this thing to yourself. It's like, oh, I should be on that, I deserve to be on that broadcast. And then when you get that, like when you get somebody just to smother your face, be like, yes, you're right, you're amazing, you're beautiful, and then you get on that LAN, it's like, okay, well that my point that I made to myself or whatever is now true. Now I think that's like really just like a really bad spiral, you know, that the green-eyed monster. I'm not sure if we have enough time for this one, but I have a long spiel about how like full-time in esports, the idea of full-time in esports is like one of the biggest destroyers of esports careers, because people get on awesome broadcasts and then they end, and then awesome broadcast. All good things come to an end and stuff like that. And so people start making money on one thing, they neglect other things, they don't do lands on other stuff, they don't branch out to voiceover work, they don't do the DoorDash stuff that me and Kendall are doing, because they're making good money, and then that thing ends. And then the other stuff that you had is no longer there to go forth and pay your bills, and people exit esports because they have to exit esports, because they have to pay their bills and stuff like that. And then they get this bad taste in their mouth about the business, about that LAN, that cast, that recurring broadcast that they should have gotten. Again, don't want to be too negative, but like those shoulds or I deserves or anything else like that, that's terrible for the mental.
I got you. I appreciate that, brother.
Like I deserve no broadcast whatsoever, that I wake up and just like, if people are still telling me I'm on stuff, then cool, right? And that's just like, it might be a super negative way to look at it, but that's just like better for the mental because you have no expectations.
The converse of that.
I guess I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I guess like I deserve it, like was one of those things where it was like wrongly worded. I just felt like I had a good shot at it because, like I said, it wasn't really for casting necessarily. It was just like admin work, and I was like, awesome, cool. This is kind of like a shoe-in almost, because like I've been doing this for such a long time, and you know, I branched myself out and diversified as far as Rocket League goes. So I've been casting, producing, and doing match admin work, more as of late recently. But the casting and producing for at least 2 years in the scene. You know what I mean? So I know how to do all that stuff. And I've had more fun producing sometimes than I have casting, because it's just sometimes just more fun that way. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of felt like, hey, not necessarily deserve it, but I feel like I had a really good shot. It was a little bit discouraging, but at the same time, it is what it is.
Again, I want to make it clear. I meant like more specifically casting wise, because again, production, adminning work, people different esports can do that. I did not mean you specifically.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
All right, I have to go. Love you guys. Thank you guys for everything. Much love. And yeah, I'll watch the VOD back too. Peace out.
100%.
Absolutely.
I will say also the converse of one, the green-eyed monster. I have a Berenstain Bears book for that. And then two, you also have the converse of that is there are people that they may hate your face, but you're also going to have the people that are naturally attracted to the things that you do. You're gonna have people who are actually like, this is your fan base. And they're gonna be people in the business, and if you click somewhere, they're gonna want to hear and see your every single stinking breath. So there's good with there's yin and yang, essentially. I don't want to say it's good and bad, because the fact is you could end up in a spot where somebody doesn't appreciate what you're doing, regardless of how good you do it. You don't want to be in that spot anyway. So it goes both ways. There's balance to it.
Go where you're valued. Go where you're valued. And
100%.
like imposter syndrome is like such a problem in this. So what I'm saying, like super ironically, is like think that you're amazing enough to do anything, and so you don't have imposter syndrome, but also think that you're crappy enough that you don't deserve anything when it comes to lands. How about that? Is that a convoluted enough statement for you, Kendo?
Well, I don't like this
Remember,
much, this
guys, you're awesome, but you're also
self-deprecation.
terrible. Just never forget that. There you go. Yeah.
I don't know.
Irish Catholic, dude. I'm telling you. Like, you were giving me compliments earlier. I started sweating. Like.
Get into the. I was listening to a Japanese comedian, or a comedian who American but lives nationally in Japan, and he was just like compliments that they take the moment you no.
Yeah.
Oh no. You like oh, you're looking mighty handsome. Oh no.
Yep.
Ah, yeah. So it's
yeah.
Anyway. I want we're gonna shift gears once again because time is imperative. Important industry tools. We've kind of pieced everything together there. We've talked about the links on the resume. Let's talk about them for a moment. Linktree, LinkedIn. I'm going down the line here with what you have on your Linktree, which is something I recommend that everybody get, because you can have everything on it, from a show reel to a cover letter. You can link your Twitch and your Twitter. You can have your full resume. Fiverr is something I want to talk about really quick, because it's not something I'm familiar with. And I love LinkedIn is something specifically we talked about earlier before you got in. I was at a LAN with Unified just a weekend ago, and the entire panel that we ended up doing with a gentleman from Immortals Progressive, a gentleman from Blizzard, and then the esports director at Illinois College, ended up all of them talking about LinkedIn and how important services like LinkedIn are. Just as far as connectivity goes. Sorry.
So, you guys, you just have to realize that Twitter is what it is, right? And Twitter has been what it is for a very long time. I make jokes all the time about 31 and archaic and esports. There's a certain demographic of folk that just aren't going to be on Twitter. Simple as that. You mentioned all of these things because you need to be everywhere, right? If there's a major, like, I just realized I don't have my Instagram on here. So if there's a major like media source out there, why wouldn't you at least have, like, here, go to the Fiverr right quick.
Yeah.
This is a perfect example here. The Fiverr is just for voiceover work. This is not for commentary stuff. As you can see, because obviously, I've done way more commentary than voiceover work, and that's like completely different. It's a lot easier stuff, a lot different paying and everything else for the voiceover work and whatnot. I would not put up commentary work up on Fiverr personally. Because I think that this is enough, and there's plenty of information here. If somebody's interested in commentary, that they can find me on other websites, on other social medias and stuff like that. Contact me and figure it out. Especially again, because voiceover work is always 100% going to be done like online, as long as you have like the right hardware. Whereas commentary work is frequently or ideally going to be done in person. That is one of the major differences right there. So especially, and again, guys, like there's just a lot of people that just simply aren't going to be on Twitter. They're going to be on LinkedIn. It is incredibly popular amongst those who are not incredibly young. Is that a neutral way to put it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The I in United States right there was bugging me because it looks like a stinking L. Like there's no separation between the line and the dot. I double checked.
Right,
I copy pasted and I double checked it. It's an I. I'm just like, Why
Come on,
is
Fiverr, get your stuff together, guys.
I know, right? It was the I in Fiverr. Anyway,
One thing I want to bring up on the topic of LinkedIn. So, because for some for some people, like I already use LinkedIn as like for my engineering. So you know that kind, and you can only have like one LinkedIn account, so I can't really use it for casting. So, like, what would like, is there a good substitute for LinkedIn if they, as you said, like if you're trying to advertise yourself to people who don't necessarily use Twitter and Instagram and other forms of more popular social media?
I'll be honest, I don't know that much. I'm not really 100% sure. I just use it for everything on here, and I have so LinkedIn here, you can see is way more commentary focused. I'll have mentions and I'll have examples of voiceover work like mentioned in there, obviously on the reel or on the resume, and like farther along the page and stuff like this. If you're talking about the only reason I would have like two different accounts or something like that is if it's like if you're like a streamer and you have like your stage name or your like character or something like that you play, unless you feel like esports production would shine a dim light on the thing that you do mainly or the other thing that you were doing, then I don't see a reason why you wouldn't have it all together. Again, this is coming from a very inexperienced like form of that, just based on my experience and what I do with how I deal with my LinkedIn and social medias.
That's I think that's a fair perspective to have on it. I just I know that like for me, like being in a position where I already have one and I've already set it up for a specific field, it's kind of like would I try and find a middle ground or would I need to find an alternative to
when you say a middle ground, do you mean like the information on your page or like the people that you're following?
Well, I guess technically both, right? Because the people you follow affects the searches you appear in, but then also the stuff on your page affects your results. Like my page right now is just all engineering and my education stuff. No mention of like casting or.
I'll say algorithm wise, I got nothing there. I don't I put stuff on there and I've gotten like a slow trickle of stuff from LinkedIn. I think what I do and posting very, very rarely, updating stuff every once in a while, is about as good as I'd get like from there. The constant updates would be your Twitters, your Instagrams, your stuff like this. If the question is, do I think that adding esports stuff would like negatively affect your algorithm? The answer is I have no idea about that. I'm sorry.
That was a question I didn't expect.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know anything about like the algorithm or like the software like side of it.
Mentally, I think it would be best to be one-dimensional in that. As much as diversification is a good thing, depending upon where you are in your commentary career. If you are full throttle and grinding and you want that, and I know we frowned upon the mentality, but if you are aiming for full-time in esports to where you are fully supporting yourself, whether it be with DoorDash or with Uber Eats on the side or you driving people around or not, I would say full throttle your LinkedIn to be what your main focus is.
If you're trying to make that transition, you got to, not to say bite the bullet, but commit to
exactly. And really, that should be the mentality of everyone. If you are going to commit, full in commit, do everything you can. And like for me, that was something that happened 2.5, 3 years ago, where I was literally like, I am going to quit these jobs. I am going to support myself off of DoorDash. And in the past 2 years, I have made $40,000 on DoorDash just to support my family. That's crazy to think about.
No, I hear you.
But
I mean, you got to do stuff like that. Like here's a list of things I've done since I started casting. I ran a wedding venue in Charleston. Instacart, the grocery delivery stuff. Regular Uber, taking people in the cars. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, all obviously essentially the same thing. Delivering pizza, like actually like working at an organization delivering pizza. Serving bar. I worked for a private investigation company delivering papers. Like that was like, you know, during COVID and stuff like this. And I feel like most of my friends who have businesses, like small businesses, I've helped them out for free, obviously, but also like, oh, hey, like I need to do XYZ for money. Like you have an event this weekend. Can I come by and do it? I think that there's a little bit of like mentality in esports that like, oh, I can do this thing and I will be able to have the same comfortability as like a desk job where I'll, you know, the only time I go outside is to walk to my car to drive home or to leave my house to go to my car to drive to work. And that kind of like grind or whatever has never really been about for me. Ever since high school, I've always done plenty of different like revenue streams to come in. And if one stops, if the economy turns down and people stop hiring for LANs, then I'll be all right because I have other things to do for money. Voiceover work is another big thing there. Voiceover work is probably like the biggest pivot that both makes money and kind of keeps it relevant to what I'm to like commentary and stuff like that, right? The classic other thing would be somebody who streams like during like the weeks, like streams regularly. Danger Taco, perfect example.
Yeah, 100%.
Example. Perfect example. Did I answer that, Raul? Yeah, like who casts and does that like a lot, does like plenty of casting stuff, but also streams on the side, and now is partnered, right? He's not just affiliated anymore, right?
Yeah, well, no, he's actually still just affiliated, but he can.
Well, still, I mean, he's making money from it. Like,
he'll do partner numbers at times.
Yes.
So
yes,
like one of these days, like I'm a taco disciple, as it were. Like we're pushing for it. We want to see the partner push, and it just hasn't happened yet, which is understandable. Like he's flipping everywhere. Imagine being a grad student in college, a teacher for undergrad.
Yep.
A full-time commentator, as well as a full-time streamer. Like
for Rocket League, and he does BRs as well now too, and he does a stream. Like again, that is like, you know, I guess if like his what he's in like post-grad psych, right?
Yeah.
Like his yeah, okay. So unless that was like a communications major, or like he worked in like sports broadcast or something like that, or like that's what his major was or something like that. Like I can't think of a way that all of those things are kind of more centralized around the same thing, right? Yeah. Like DoorDash, for example, awesome because you can do it whenever, you can do it wherever, as long as there's people who are hungry, they're going to spend way too much money to order food, right? That's the reason why I do that, like because of that ease, and I can do it anywhere.
Versatility.
But exactly, like, but if there was like a delivering food for an esports company or something like that, I don't know, then I would sooner do that because that's closer to like what I'm trying to do, which is cast, which is commentary and stuff like that. And everything that you just said about Danger Taco, perfect example. Everything's just said about Danger Taco outside of like the subject is all kind of revolving around the same thing. Streaming, doing talks for streaming, is being in San Diego in a couple weeks, casting all the freaking time, and streaming the same game that he casts all the freaking time, as well as diversifying and doing VRs now. Like it,
content machine. Yeah, exactly.
Content machine, man.
Gotta turn yourself into one.
And that's the other thing, right? Like you can stream all day long. It doesn't matter. Like, and people aren't gonna see like the genuinely funny clips or like the genuinely funny shit that he makes up all the time without him going forth and doing that, and then having like that drive to be creative and be funny and be comedic and stuff like that. His video about like the half of December and January, like esports blues,
and he starts commentating his own life,
thinking that you're never going to work again because nobody's hit you up. Well, hey guys, nobody's doing any lands right now. It's just you're not like a crappy casters, you know, like it's everybody's here. And I could talk about that for a while, kind of like on the Whoops You topic earlier, like just being able to push the mentality through is a huge thing for here, because I mean, like, you know, I know that I'm like a mod, like a middle of the road caster somewhere, right? I'm not a top tier caster. I didn't just start casting yesterday, like, right? I like to think that I'm not terrible at it, yada yada. My point is, even I was like spending all of January thinking like, oh my god, are people going to hire me again? And for no other reason than nobody was hiring me, because nobody was hiring anybody. Like there's no colleges in there. I think I did 5 gigs between like December 15th or so and like January 28th or something like that, which is obviously like next to nothing. Only like one live thing, that's it. Then that was all except for one thing, not like scholastic, not collegiate or high school or whatever. So
let's
maintain the mentality.
I want to, because we only have about 10 more minutes with Tugboat.
Yep.
I want to make sure that we get everything in. Does anybody have any questions in closing?
No, I mean, mine was that big one about LinkedIn and platform sharing. So no, this was really great.
If nobody else has anything, I have one myself. And try to make it a little more entertaining here. And Tugboat, if you have anything else that you wanted to just spout off, like feel free to do that as well. But what is your most memorable LAN moment? Because like it's all about at a certain point, it is all about making the memories.
Making memories, yeah. Okay, just have okay. I guess I have a good one and a bad one. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. Good one was actually at the first LAN I ever did. The first LAN that I ever like got paid to go and cast at. It was not the first live event I'd ever done. Like I said, the first time I ever casted, I literally like drove up to like a LAN center and casted Fortnite for free. But this was the first like paid gig that I ever did. It was up in Albany, New York, and without explaining the full situation, it was an Overwatch game, and after playing the game for a while, I realized that a team was about like really had like one option left before they dropped point and dropped the map. I'm not sure if it was serious point, but still, like it's like a do or die like type situation. And basically, Reinhardt had to charge and hit the other side of the wall, turn around and shatter, and I like saw it in my head, like the Zach Galifianakis meme from The Hangover. Like I saw the numbers and shit, and instead of like pulling back and not calling it, because obviously you call it, it doesn't happen, you look like a moron. Instead, I did, and when I called it, like the crowd got kind of quieter, and then the Reinhardt charged in and hit the wall, and then turned around. The crowd like literally gasped, and I'll never forget that feeling. Like every hair on my legs is standing up right now, because I'll never forget that. And then when it landed and he hit like 5 of the 6 members, the crowd went
So good.
absolutely apeshit. It was an indescribable feeling. A truly indescribable feeling. Yeah, like that's you know what? I'll tell you guys this. Sometimes when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling blue, feeling like I'm not a great caster, I will think about that moment and that feeling. Worst memory or whatever was like the day before I did a 14.5-hour day, which is my longest live commentary day ever, for a really crappy. I don't want to say the LAN place, because then you guys could look at my resume and find out what I'm talking about. Somewhere on the East Coast with an organization that I only worked with once. They ended up stiffing production. They ended up paying me not as much as they said they were going to. They ended up like pretty much only paying out players who won across like the 8 title LAN that they did, if they like drank with them in this city like that like weekend. It was really crappy. But the day before the 14-hour day, there was literally an FPS tournament going on, and the players fist fought each other. Like we're literally like fist fighting.
Oh.
Like me and my co-caster sitting here. We have a host over there. The edge of the stage is like right there, and there's like grown men like punching each other and wrestling around on the ground. Yeah, it was memorable.
Memorable for all the wrong reasons.
It was memorable. Yes.
Got about 7 minutes. I don't want to encroach upon your time. Did you add anything else or anything in closing?
That's pretty much it. I'll say the same aggressive thing that I always say, and that is that if you are interested in esports and you don't try it, then I will take that personally. I'll come to your house. If you are not interested in esports and you find yourself working in esports and you find yourself doing amazing things that other people would kill for, then get out of esports. Straight up. Like this is a passion industry, and if you don't have that right there, then you're actually taking it away from somebody who loves it. And if you're just in it for the money, do it as a side thing. Do it as a side thing. Find something else that pays a lot more money and go forth, and because that's what you're after, right? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not telling anybody to get out of esports that's interested in it. I'm telling people to get into it if you're interested in it, and get out of it if you're not, because I think passionless people are sucking down certain aspects of this industry.
Solid last words. I truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being a part of the interview process here and giving us a little bit back and forth, talking about LAN experiences, the resumes, how to go about getting that first LAN opportunity, or second, or whatever. Because I know a lot of people are probably watching this. They're thinking to themselves, well, I've been doing this a little while.
Again, okay, sorry. I guess we never really answered that question.
Yeah.
The easiest 1 + 1 = 2 equation is do live events for free somewhere around you. I'm not saying buy a $500 plane ticket somewhere. I'm not saying put yourself up in the Ritz Hotel for 5 nights or whatever to do this. Find something near you, do it live, have that footage of you doing it live, then send it to people. The biggest difference between online casters or between a caster getting hired and not hired is whether or not they've done it live before, because just like we were talking about earlier with content, people want to hire people they know are going to be able to get the thing done, and there's not going to be a risk to it. If you've never done it live, I have watched it, people that have gone to do it before they're ready, and then the pressure comes and they either don't do a good job, or the worst possible thing is they break down, or they have to run off to the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah.
And that is terrible for a career. That's terrible for a mental. That's terrible for any kind of progress for a career and where you want to be, casting wise.
It literally starts trying to find whatever is the most local to you. Like for me, it was an hour away. I started out
45 minutes for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
It may be
and
3
save
hours
that
away
footage,
for some.
Save that footage. Don't let it go through that 2 weeks on Twitch, right? Of when they delete VODs, get that footage, put it together, put something together. You don't have to have a fantastic reel, you screaming over the whole thing. Put 3 clips together, you doing that, send that off to the people that you're applying for lands with, and best of luck. Hopefully you don't take mine. How about that?
Hi, Tugboat. It's Biggles here, Dean. G'day, nice to meet you. Yeah, I've got a little bit of experience with casting over the last couple of years, but what you've given us tonight has been very insightful. I've been sitting and munching down my dinner too while I'm listening to that, so I think that's fantastic. And you also hit the nail on the coffin recently, which is what I always find to do. Save everything that you do after. Save every broadcast, don't you? Immediately, because once again, you'll probably forget or get distracted. And then I always just do it. I have a Twitch download or a YouTube download. Just download it and just keep it in the vault, and then you got that material available, don't you, for reels in the future?
Exactly. You can chop it up however you want. You don't have to worry about somebody else's Twitch, getting banned, or the 2 weeks, or whatever else. It really is.
Rock on. I'm going to let you go. I know you had a time limit that you wanted to keep. I'm a little bit before that time limit, and as long as I can do that, I appreciate you being here, my friend. Really, really thank you. Fantastic stuff.
Not a problem.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, mercy. Gosh. Conversations like this one give me goosebumps. Just straight up. We can cover so stinking much, and that'll always be the heart of what the casting workshop's all about. If we can bring people in who are impassioned, emblazoned in what they're trying to bring to esports, people, regardless of where they are, the very beginning of their commentary career or seasoned in it, can glean so much. And Jordan is one of my favorite people when it comes to again, he'll be the first one to say he's not the best. Okay, I think that's a humble brag, in my opinion, because while he is, and it is true, he's not on a lot of big A streams or big B streams, he's everywhere. He has never stopped grinding for what he's done, and it's something that I admire. I want to be more like an FBI tugboat. So I'm really thankful for his time. Did anybody else have any questions before we close out? Because it's been about 2 hours, and I don't have very much left mentally. We killed it today.
No, I came in kind of late, but no, we got some good stuff out of this.
Okay. Well, rock on. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, stop the stream, folks. Next week.
Thank you, Kendo. Thanks, mate, for putting the show on, I want to be here more often, but I'm too busy streaming most of the time, so that's the problem with casting. But it's at least I got an opportunity tonight to listen to some fantastic, well-experienced advice, so Appreciate that.
The last thing I typed to you is I missed your voice, and oh my
Well,
goodness,
I'm back. Missed hanging out too, Kendo. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take care, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you on the next time. Next week is going to be on Monday. So Monday, it'll be more of a come and go as you are, revolving door per the usual. And I'm working towards what next month has in store. Most likely a change in format, just because the amount of time required with CRL being in season makes it very, very difficult. But trying to put a little more emphasis on doing VOD reviews for those who are finding the work and being able to put in a little extra work, or maybe people want to set up appointments to go through and maybe do some commentary off of replays. I don't mind doing that. Next month will be a little more one-on-one based, and I'm hoping to get 1 or 2 big interviews like we had here today, where we can talk about a subject with somebody who's really passionate and really well versed. So I'm looking forward to next Monday, and we will see you all on the flip side.